Hey everybody, it's David Duford at davidduford.com, where I help insurance agents like you become top producers. Thanks for watching. Today's video topic is specifically addressing the best life insurance leads, the best life insurance vendors to consider if you're in the leads market and looking for some kind of life insurance style lead. So what I'm going to do in this video is go into detail about different types of lead sources, describe why I included these types of vendors and lead sources on this video, and then break it down by the type that they do. So for Facebook, direct mail, free lead sources, telemarketing, so on and so forth. So I'm going to give you a lot of different options here that you can look at. It should be very detailed. You should have a lot of different ways you can go. And whether you're looking for free leads or paid leads, you're going to get information on both. So before we get started, let me qualify a couple of things here. So the reason I'm including these particular lists of vendors on my video is a couple of handful of characteristics. Number one, what I have seen and heard from a multitude of agents, both my own nationally, as well as other agents that I converse with, that these particular lead vendors are good quality. Quality is important for me. I don't think you should be testing out lead ideas that are unproven. Let somebody else take the risk. What you should find are good vendors that they may not be the biggest, but they're consistent and they've got a record of success in providing good life insurance leads outcomes. So that's number one. Number two is you want to make sure that the lead vendor's been around for a while. Lead vendors kind of come and go for life insurance leads. So you want to make sure that you find one that has testimonials, that has a track record of success, that knows what they're doing, that are experts in their space. Again, don't trust a lead vendor that isn't well vetted by other agents before you reach out. That's kind of a good rule of thumb to follow. The other thing too is I included is not everybody has infinite resources to invest in life insurance leads. So what I'm going to cover in this video are various different vendors that provide what I consider quality leads at a fair price at different levels, depending on the kind of lead that you end up sourcing. So no matter what your budget is for life insurance leads, you should see some good options forthcoming. And the last thing here is that I have a preference for lead exclusivity. That simply means leads that aren't shared or resold. So the vendors here, as far as I can tell, are committed to selling the freshest and most exclusive leads. Bar none, if you want to be a top producer, all top producers, for the most part, buy fresh and exclusive leads. You don't see them getting old leads or resold leads. Sometimes they do, but it's not their primary outcome, not their primary lead generation strategy. So that's why for life insurance leads, it's important to focus on finding one that will provide you both fresh and exclusive leads. And last but not least, the vendors that I have listed here are in no particular order. There's not one that I think is better than the rest. They're all good enough that I think that they're worth trying out if you're looking for a new life insurance lead source. So the first lead source we're going to talk about is Secure Agent Leads, run by my buddy Cody Askins. Perhaps you've seen his YouTube channel. If you haven't, check it out. Just put Cody Askins into YouTube, and he's got lots of good insurance sales training content. Cody Askins has been running a lead generation program for insurance agents for quite a while. It's been wildly successful. He's got a lot of big organizations that are his primary source for generating leads. Also, independent agents who aren't necessarily involved with big organizations utilize his leads. And just to give you kind of an overview of what to expect, he's got a good mixture of different leads here. So if we look at, for example, final expense leads, they start at $23 a lead, and this is a recording held in March 2020. But we also have access to Spanish-speaking final expense leads, regular life insurance leads, think more of like a term life insurance type of prospect, Medicare leads, mortgage protection leads, and they're all generated on Facebook. And typically it takes 5 to 10 days to turn around an order. Just depends on the area that you're targeting, as well as the total lead flow that they're managing. So in addition to secureagentleads.com, Cody Askins also runs another website called secureagentmarketing.com. This is a little bit unique, and actually I like this as a preferential option for those who have the budget to do it. They actually offer a program to where they can generate leads for you on an agency level, and that you get the leads at a wholesale price instead of paying full retail like you do with their per lead situation. So the advantage here is that you may be able to get a much lower cost per lead, and then also have a lot more control over the actual intent, meaning, how specific is a lead relative to life insurance or not. Whatever it is that you prefer, they can custom tailor it. I have a handful of agents that have all done this particular program. I know agents I don't work with that do this, and I've heard tons of positive responses from it. So this is something I would also explore. As far as prices go, last I checked, it's around a $1,500 a month minimum investment, $200 startup fee, and the $500 of the $1,500 is an agency fee to basically train them to manage your campaign, and then the $1,000 is what's used to generate the leads. And of course, you can scale that up higher. They'll allow you to do that. So reach out to them. I think they do a really good job, and it's definitely worth considering if you're looking for more of a wholesale price solution and you want to do it that way. For this next vendor, we're going to look at a company called Gametime Leads. I've heard lots of positive responses from final expense agents who have been looking for quality final expense leads. I have several that have been doing business with Gametime Leads, agents of mine that have written a ton of business. So I would definitely give these guys a shot. Again, with all Facebook leads, they're pretty much the same. There are going to be some differences in intent, how specific the lead is versus how unspecific the lead is. Ultimately, if you're going to buy a per lead solution, the best way to figure out is just to try the lead, see how it handles, how the response is it good, is it bad, and then base your future orders on which of the vendors work best. So Gametime Leads seems to offer pretty good value. Price point is $20 to $26 at the time of this recording. Again, takes 7 to 10 days average to turn around a Facebook lead form. And they'll actually call you, set up an appointment sometimes on your calendar if you have that function as well. So all in all, a really good option if you like the idea of Facebook leads and you want to diversify and test out different sources. So the next vendor we have on the list here for Facebook leads, at least, is tipstricksandclosers.com, or TTC. So Ryan Saradakis is the owner and operator of TTC, tipstricksandclosers.com. I've worked with him on some level probably for about the last year. He's done a really good job for my agents who like doing Facebook leads to source their leads from them. At the current recording of this, the leads for tipstricksandclosers.com run around $19 to $24 and take somewhere between 7 and 10 days to turn around. So as far as the kind of leads that they offer, if you look in the leads section at the menu, they offer final expense leads, standard and premium. And what that essentially means is it's a reduction in the amount of geography that they target to generate leads. So as opposed to taking a wider, you can take a smaller one. So it can help you stay more consolidated as opposed to being drawn out all over the place. And then also there's some additional questions asked that hopefully will help facilitate a better chance to set the appointment and get into the appointment. They also have Spanish final expense leads, telesales final expense, and then also Medicare leads. Of course, this is about life insurance, but at least you know it's there as a potential option. So if you're interested in doing this, you can definitely go to the website, place an order. I have a special arrangement where I can give you a discount on the leads. Really probably the best way to do it. If you don't see a direct link in the description box below, go to daviddufour.com/contact. I'll send you the actual link, and then that'll save you $1. Normally it's $20 to $25 at the time of this recording, but we can reduce each lead by $1 if you follow that particular source. Now there's one more option we really haven't explored when it comes to generating Facebook leads, and it's the option of not outsourcing any component to any sort of company, but learning how to do it on your own. And the one person I think in particular that operates a very good training program that can teach how to do this is Jerry Moore of Perpetual Intent Marketing. If you go on YouTube, that's where you can find his YouTube channel. He's got a ton of really good information, informative videos, kind of like this one, but on his channel about how to utilize Facebook advertising methods to generate leads for yourself with you managing, creating the campaigns, and basically just getting leads to the extent that you want to. I think one of the biggest advantages that you'll get on a wholesale situation is just that. You're not going to pay a markup for anything. You get full control of what the ad says, how long it goes, whether it runs or it doesn't, and it gives you a lot of power. Now, the downside to this particular approach is that it detracts your time and effort from other activities. And what I mean by that is that I think to an extent, every agent in the beginning should focus ideally almost exclusively on getting better at selling final expense or insurance or whatever kind of product of insurance that you're selling. Whereas if you get too down in the weeds with a marketing program like this, where you learn how to do Facebook marketing, it's take a lot of your time and effort away from that, I would argue, and it could potentially damage you in the short term. So my recommendation when I look at these kind of programs is to recommend them only if you've been doing this business for a while, and basically just progressing from there. Once you have got a good skill set selling, then considering doing this as another form of marketing. Okay, so that covers Facebook, final expense, life insurance, lead vendors. Check them all out, tell them I sent you, and see what works best for you. Now, what we're going to switch to now is talking about direct mail lead solutions for life insurance leads. Direct mail life insurance leads are a staple in the business. They work exceedingly well for a variety of different life insurance niches. And even though we're in 2020 at the filming of this video, it is still the case that direct mail is king. So what I'm going to describe in just a second are some of the best vendors that I like for direct mail final expense leads. I'm going to tell you what their pros and cons are, give you an idea of what to expect on expenses in order to invest in them, and then basically take it from there. So a quick primer on direct mail if you're unfamiliar with how direct mail works. So the vast majority of direct mail is either sold on a fixed price lead basis or on what's called a per thousand basis. So what that means is you either pay exactly down to the penny for your leads, if that's how the arrangement with the vendor set up, or you pay at the time of mail drop and you pay for 1,000 mailers at a time to go out. The difference between both of these programs is that with fixed pricing, you know exactly what you're going to pay, even if there's a poor response rate. The downside is, what if the response rate's good? You may actually pay more per lead. And that's where a per 1,000 mailer campaign can come in handy. It can help drive down your average cost. And in many cases, when you do a per 1,000 mailer, you have a lot more customization ability. You can target exactly the market that you really want to hit. And so there's pros and cons to both. Generally, what I recommend for most agents starting off is to do a fixed price lead solution. A fixed price lead solution controls the biggest variable that we all have to carry, which is our cost of doing business. There's really nothing worse than generating a life insurance lead that normally would have been in the $20s or $30 range, and it ends up being double or even triple because the area you target's low response rate and you decided to do the per 1,000 when you could have done the fixed pricing. Direct mail typically takes 3 to 4 weeks to turn around fresh and exclusive leads. Most of these vendors are going to have their own CRMs where you can download the information from, see the leads as they come in, and organize your leads accordingly. So the first vendor I've got on the screen here is leadconcepts.com. Leadconcepts.com and I go way back. I've been using their leads probably as a personal agent and referring them out to others for 5-6 years now. They do a fantastic job with service. I've never gotten a single complaint from any agent saying that they dropped a ball on some servicing element. And even if they did or something wasn't quite right, they always make sure to make it right. Now with Lead Concepts, they do offer a per 1,000 mailer. A lot of agents really like this option if you're in a decent response rate state. They also have good leads that tend to respond better. I've got an agent right now responding at about 2% with his final expense leads that run through Lead Concepts, so it works very well. The price point for Lead Concepts is going to be somewhere, depending on the lead, $460 to $500 per 1,000. It's going to depend, and again, this is all based off of March 2020 rates. This could go up into the future. That is for a one-time $1,000 mailer drop. You can do a one-time drop. You can do multiple drops. It's really up to you how frequently you want to do this. Of course, we recommend for most agents to do recurring weekly orders to get a consistent flow of leads coming in, as that's just so crucial to have. But if you like the idea of doing per 1,000 mailers, definitely check out Lead Concepts. They come highly recommended. Ask for Chris Weir. Excellent guy, been in the business forever, and they will definitely take care of you. Probably one of the best fixed price lead solutions that doesn't tie you directly to an agency or a marketing organization is NitaLead.com. NitaLead.com has been around a long time. I've been doing business with them really ever since I started my insurance agency back in 2013. And I have a ton of agents right now who are using their fixed price leads. So they do a per thousand mailer that you can take advantage of. But what I recommend most agents do, if they're in a low response area and they're not sure and they're not comfortable with doing a per thousand mailer, Nita Lead is a really good option to begin with. So the price point's going to vary. In a lot of states outside of the Southeast, the primary lead they offer is around $32 a lead. Again, that could vary over time as prices change and time goes on. And then certain select states in the Southeast, the rates are actually a lot higher, somewhere between $40 and $45 a lead. At that price, I'm not very impressed, to be honest with you, as much as I like Nita Lead. I think that's too high for most agents to consider. But the good news is that there's other fixed price lead vendors we'll talk about here momentarily that will make it back down to the upper 20s to lower 30s per lead, which to me is about where you want to be when it comes to generating leads. But if you're not in those southeastern states, Nita Lead is a fantastic lead solution that comes highly recommended. So the last two per thousand lead vendors I'll throw up here that I've heard good results from are GenMarco.com, and then the next one is going to be leads2success.com. So both of these lead vendors, again, do life insurance leads on a per thousand basis. They have all sorts of life insurance types. You can do final expense, you can do mortgage protection, you can do term insurance leads, you can do annuities. All of these offer pretty good options for life insurance leads, but understand you're going into a per thousand basis when you drop mail with them. One time, a long time ago, I did a video where we talked about GenMarco, and I only got like a 0.7 response with them. And I just dropped an area I should have never done, but it was bad, you know, and I mean, they did a really good job, did everything right, but because the area was just so poor response, I ended up paying closer to $70 a lead on average, so not good. Now, pricing for leads2success.com, you can see below, at current rate, it's $462 per thousand. And then for GenMarco, pricing-wise, you have to email them to ask, but they tend to be kind of a white label service type of provider. If you don't know what that means, sometimes what I've heard is that some agencies use GenMarco as their lead house and then resell the leads to someone else and or their agency, and then basically mark it up, if you will, turn it into a profit center. But GenMarco does a really good job. You can negotiate your prices with them. They tend to be the lowest out of all of the options that I have seen. So check them out if you'd like a per thousand solution. Maybe you can negotiate a good price with them. Either way, Leads to Success is good too as well. Last but not least, of course, my agency, we offer a fixed price direct mail lead solution to most states in this great nation. And on the screen here, you can see some of the options that we have. We have Walmart gift card mailers, free Memorial Guide gift card mailers, well, I guess not gift card, just Memorial Guide, and just no bribe whatsoever. All of these leads that we have do say life insurance on them. That, I think, helps clarify and quantify the quality of the lead, although some agents don't agree, and that's fine. And right now, as of today, they run $27 a piece. Again, they're fresh and exclusive. We never resell them. We also have some other leads that are a little bit more expensive that you might be able to use a little bit more filters on. But these are our primary options to start an agent off with. Again, the goal is to try to get a better price on leads, and but still retain quality without sacrificing, you know, what the lead says, right? So this is something that's only available to my agents at $27 a piece. I think they work very well. If you'd like more information, if you're watching this, you have to join my agency, of course, to get access to this. But if you want more information in consideration of possibly joining, just go to daviddufour.com/contact and reach out to me there. So now that we've covered direct mail leads, let's talk about telemarketing leads for life insurance. So I'm generally not a big fan of telemarketing leads. It's the reason why is the technology to generate telemarketed life insurance leads has all but gone away. And it's very hard to find outsourced lead generation solutions to get an affordable lead that has a decent level of quality. With that said, I'm going to give you two different options that you can look at for telemarketed leads, as there are a few left that are halfway decent in quality. Okay, so the first one here is leadheroes.com. I know Glenn, on a little bit of an acquaintanceship type of level, Glenn sells all sorts of life insurance leads, which are predominantly generated using his Filipino-based call center. He has the ability to get you preset appointments for final expense. Also live transfer leads, and then just your normal type of final expense lead. As far as costs go, they tend to be lower than your typical Facebook leads. Depending on the type of lead, $10 to $15 a lead is about average. As for my second lead vendor for telemarketing life insurance leads, it would be yours truly. So we have a really good life insurance telemarketing program where the trainer or the owner of the call center used to be a final expense trainer and wrote a lot of business back in his heyday. He actually relocated out to the Philippines, owns and operates a call center there. And what he brings to the table for my agents is the ability to generate high quality leads at a very affordable price. So our leads go currently at the time $12.50 a piece with a minimum order of 30 leads. And again, you must work in my organization to get them. The reason I like these telemarketed leads and don't others is really just because of the quality. The owner ensures that there's a level of quality in the leads that's just really hard to come by with any kind of telemarketed leads. Also, they come with recordings. You get information about the client as far as how much they want in coverage, who their beneficiaries they'd like, and of course, basic contact information. They take around 7 to 10 days to fill. And again, I can think of multiple handful of agents that have done extremely well working these cheap yet effective final expense telemarketed leads. Again, if you want more information as a part of joining my agency on how these work, go to daviddufour.com/contact and I'll be happy to provide you more. Now, I've decided to throw in here a little bit of a discussion on aged leads, even though that's not my first pick. Some agents do want to know if they've got some aged lead vendor options, so I wanted to mention a few here. So the first one is agedleadstore.com. You can go purchase aged leads for final expense, regular term life insurance. They're all internet-driven, internet-generated leads. If you're looking for a cheap lead source that have already been bought or purchased or anything like that, definitely give that a shot at agedleadstore.com. And then for my agents in my agency, we do have access to a aged, already worked lead program. I don't really promote it that much. If you've joined my agency and this is the first time you've heard it, it is something that is an option, not something I recommend or really recommend you reaching for to start. I prefer that if you want a cheaper lead, start with telemarketed leads. Aged leads have their place, but they're not a core type of lead like a telemarketed lead or direct mail or Facebook lead can be. So now that we've exhausted really all of the top vendors for life insurance leads that you pay for, let's talk about some leads that you don't have to pay for, otherwise known as free life insurance lead sources. So I've got a handful here I think are worth mentioning and going into detail to describe to you. All three of them have their pros and cons. I'll describe that as I go along. But if you're looking for a free source of life insurance leads, one of these three should be a good pick. So the first one is seminar marketing. What is seminar marketing? Well, it's just like you think. You get up, talk to a group of people, typically educate them on a topic related to life insurance, and then generate leads to go see in a private one-on-one manner. I actually teach a course on this called Seminar Marketing Mastery. You can go to my website, daviddufour.com, to learn more under the Start Here button. Basically, what I teach is agents to go into the different facilities with seniors who are our target market and then get permission to do an educational seminar and then try to convert some of those attendees into closed deals. Now, you don't have to just do this for final expense. You can always do seminars for other life insurance products and for other types of groups. You just got to get creative as far as what you talk about and what groups you target. The nice thing about seminar marketing is that it's something that's not very competitive. There's not a lot of agents doing it. And a lot of these groups have more of a demand for speakers than a supply that can meet it. So in other words, if you decide to do speaking engagements, it's likely you're not going to find competition out there. Okay, it's going to be easier than you think to book speaking engagements. And I believe the seminar strategy yields the best quality applicants and leads. They're the kind that usually don't answer ads. They prefer to send referrals. They tend to be more actively involved and engaged. And I like the idea of targeting, if possible, exclusively seminar marketing. That's even more so than paid leads. It can be difficult doing it because you got to get enough speaking engagements, enough volume coming in. But for certain products and markets, you can definitely do that. And no, you don't have to pay like you would with, say, an annuity seminar or something. Just go find organizations that already meet and respectfully ask if you can do an educational seminar on whatever, life insurance, retirement planning, that kind of thing. And you'll be very surprised how easy it is to actually get into a lot of those events. Next thing you can do if you're broke and you don't want to spend money on leads and you need free leads for life insurance is to cold call or cold canvas. So despite what the naysayers say, both actually still work. Yeah, it's tough work. Yeah, it's sweat equity. But there just isn't a lot of people who are doing it anymore. So as far as calling on the phone, you can just pick up the phone, call a scrubbed list of people who are not on the do not call list, and ask a set appointments to explain whatever life insurance you're coming up with or what you're offering. And then for something like door knocking, it's really the same thing. Just pick a neighborhood to go into and start knocking on doors, talking about what you do and how you may be able to help. So with any kind of cold prospecting approach, door knocks or phone calls, it is a numbers game. You really have to put a lot of effort in, perhaps 80% of your effort into the prospecting and then 20% into the actual presentations. So don't be dismayed if you get no's a way ton more than yeses. It's just the normal course of doing business. But the biggest advantage is it gives you a sense of scale and ability without having to put money down on generating any kind of lead. Last but not least, it's going to be least for some of you, and that's working your warm market. So what is your warm market? Your warm market is your circle of influence. Think your friends, family members, business associates, anybody on your social media, it would fit the bill too. So the advantage of working a warm market is that people who are your friends, family members, and coworkers generally want to see you succeed. If you ask them to do a favor, friends are more likely to relent and see you if that's what you're asking for. In this case, for appointments to talk about what you do. A lot of the traditional insurance agencies that hire, if you think like New York Life, Northwestern Mutual, utilize what we call the Project 100 or Project 200 strategy, which is listing down a name of all your circle of influence and then asking for appointments. So the pros of this is that the business that you write is really good quality. It typically isn't shopped, and you can get referrals, I think, a lot easier from people who already know, like, and trust you. The downside is you're selling your friends and family. There may be some people that never want to talk to you again if you pitch them too hard on buying insurance. However, I think it's something you can get over if you're comfortable with. But some people just absolutely flat out will not do this. I was one of those when I first started. Now I don't think it's so bad now. But it is something that makes people feel uncomfortable. So if you don't like kind of that strategy of working your network, then I advise against it. So as I wrap up this long video on different life insurance vendors, there's a couple of points, a couple of questions I want to hit on just to kind of summarize things as far as what we've talked about today and where you could start when it comes to getting life insurance leads. So the first thing is, how do you do it? Where do you start? So I would first assess your budget. What are you comfortable investing? I generally recommend agents in my agency be comfortable investing $1,500 to $3,000 monthly into their life insurance lead program. That's usually enough to get started and stay busy week over week. And one of the vendors here listed will cover and take that money to cover a full-time worth of leads. So I would start there as far as how much you need to bankroll yourself to begin. The next thing to do is to pick one or two vendors and test against each other in case you're not sure or don't have guidance on which ones to select. A lot of the lead business comes down to trial and error. You're probably going to have more error than trial if you're figuring this out on your own. That's normal. But when you find a good lead vendor, the other recommendation I'd make is to scale up your lead activity. If somebody does something real good for you, try to squeeze as many out of them as possible. Get the most out of your leads. If somebody's good, they're typically good with more. So keep that in mind. So a lot of agents ask me is there the ability to get a free trial of leads. So you could always ask, if you don't ask, you don't get. So some vendors are open to it. A lot of them, especially the ones with high cost of doing business, aren't. And, common question I get too is, does life insurance or buying life insurance leads actually work? And the answer to that is absolutely yes. Okay. Now, of course, for the life insurance leads to work, you've got to find a good vendor. Hopefully, I've done some kind of that legwork for you in that regard. And then number two, you have to be an agent that actually likes to work. Okay. So remember, life insurance leads aren't guaranteed sales. They're people that show a marginal level of interest in possibly doing business. So that means it's up to the agent to motivate the person to move towards a buying outcome if it's even possible. And I say that because the paradox of this business is that 3 out of 4 people of your leads will tell you to go to hell in so many words. And if that's the most that tell you to go to hell, you're actually doing wonderfully. If you can convert 1 out of 4 of your leads, for especially direct mail leads, even less with telemarketing or Facebook leads, you're doing extremely well. Okay, so you're gonna hear a lot of no's to get the few yeses, but the outsized returns of the yeses well take care of all the no's that you hear. If you got any questions about how these leads work or the different vendors, or you have suggestions for vendors to look at, please post your comments below. Feel free to tell me more about what you'd like to see, or if you have any questions on anything in particular, I'll be happy to help. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Hope you got something value out of this. And if you're interested in joining my agency, my national agency in final expense annuities and Medicare, go to daviddufour.com to learn more. Thank you.